My name is Renee Westfall. I'm a graduate of Garland County Community College, and I am a trustee of National Park College.
Hello, I'm Katelynn Westfall-Gallegos, and I am the president of the food pantry. I'm the vice president of the sustainability club. I'm a SGA representative at large, and I'm also the vice president of the chemistry society on campus.
Can you tell us about your connection to MPC and when your journey began?
I attended Garland County from 1997 to 1999, graduated, and decided an associate's was enough for me at that time in life. So I was blessed to experience some of the best instructors, not in a junior college, but in a college anywhere. Dr. Van Davis, Dr. Ken Cook, Barbara Briscoe, Joan Henry, fabulous teachers who changed generations. And I, of course, had my children at that time. Mm-hmm. So Katie came along for the ride on a lot of the Phi Theta Kappa adventures.
Mm-hmm. I technically started in 1997, but my first college journey was in 2012, where I received my associates in arts and English. I also got to take a lot of the teachers that my mom took the first time around. I ended up, Dr. Cook was one of my favorite teachers. I, of course, got to get Miss Briscoe, too. I don't believe that it would have been the same if I had waited as far as I did for me to, I wouldn't have been able to get all the teachers that had my mom. Because of that, I felt like they kind of held me to a higher standard, and I kind of needed that for myself, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, at the same time, after I completed my degree and I'm coming back to get a new one, I feel like I was able to mature a little bit more. And now, the harder courses are coming to me more easily now that I have my own kid to also take care of and keep me on track. My journey through National Park has been really delightful.
What do you think sets MPC apart from other campuses?
I think the variety of programs, since I graduated and now that I'm serving as a trustee, the programs to enable adults and non-traditional students, particularly with children, to get a degree have increased dramatically. Its culture has remained it's a lot like Hot Springs. We remain still a small town. We have 2 million visitors a year, and the college has that same culture. We kept a family atmosphere, but we offer things that you can't find in colleges all over the United States.
I kind of like the affordability aspect of it on top of all of the culture that is it, because honestly, the cost of education is what's keeping people from excelling in their careers. I know that if it wasn't for me to be in a organization like Career Pathways, it's one of the best things I could have ever been in. I don't know where I would be at, but I know that it's definitely helps me for my future. On top of that, I feel like there's a sense of family on campus. I can go to a tutoring center and they can help me with something and it be almost a drop of a dime or an appointment that I can set. I can go and I can study almost anywhere on campus. I can go into a lab and ask for help with a lab report. I feel like people actually care about us as students here.
How does it feel for your daughter following in your footsteps, and how does it feel going to the same place that your mom went?
Well, it's we have to give credit to her father as well, because he also attended, and one of our family's driving ambitions was to get us into a position where we could offer our children better opportunities. So I got to give a hats off to the people you don't see that made it happen. Her dad certainly did his fair share of late nights while I was studying or taking night classes. How does it feel? I had to grab a tissue at the board meeting when my daughter walked in as student of the month. And it wasn't as a trustee, it was 100% mom. I had been named Student of the Month in 1998 or 1999, so I was real thrilled to see the professors and the instructors recognize my daughters. It was special.
Well, I can tell you that it's really nice because I've seen the campus grow so much in a different perspective. Like, a lot of people like to think of me as my mom's daughter, and I guess you're kind of a board member,
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily just that, but this has been pretty much most of my life. So it's nice that I get to see how much the campus grows because, like, people like my mom went to school here originally. I guess it's almost kind of a legacy in a way that, like, hey, I would really like my daughter to do the same thing too.
Seeing our children take part in programs like Katie in the food pantry and starting a greenhouse, she didn't just like drop out on our head and do these things. We have drug our children, both Katie and her brother, to
Alzheimer's
clean
walks.
up
I've picked
Alzheimer's
up
walks.
everything of trash everywhere. My dad's a park ranger, so I've been to every litter cleanup in this whole county, probably multiple times a year, and that's okay. That's why I'm part of the sustainability club. It's very important. So, I don't know.
We did get the message across, and it's it's very satisfying. I think, other than watching her become a mother, that's been one of the great joys of having adult children.
Can you describe MPC in 2 or 3 words?
It's definitely home, and like it's definitely opportunity, and definitely future has been that for me.
I think it is a quality education. It provides an experience that you take with you your whole life, and it gives you a serious grounding. No matter what you want to do, this is your starting point. And you can get it all here.
What changes have y'all witnessed over your time here?
Oh, the buildings and, everything. When I went, dorms weren't here, the commons weren't here. I don't even know what 3 or 4 of those buildings are. I think they're Marine. The one thing I was very surprised about was at the first board meeting, as I met the staff, I was so surprised to see many of my classmates had stayed and were in great positions, department heads and everything. So I think that legacy, you used the word legacy, I think that you're bound by this college once you've been here.
From your perspective, how has the student experience changed and what still remains the same?
So mine, since I have 2 examples of it, as a traditional and as a non-traditional student, one of the biggest things that has changed is that there's parking now. That's a really great thing. There's been so much like advancement in our sciences. That one has been our biggest leap. I know that our nursing program is a lot more efficient. I see so many people in nursing now. The Commons in itself has been a huge benefit because used to you would have to drive across campus if you didn't make it within a 4-hour window to the Super Sandwich, and you might get the food that you wanted. No, now you get to have like 6 different types of food, and it gets done relatively quick. There's even an app for it too. We didn't have apps for that.
Oh, we didn't have apps for
I bet you
anything.
didn't.
Yeah. Certainly the dorms are the biggest changes, and the 4-year degrees. We've got 5 opportunities to do a bachelor's degree without ever leaving this campus. And
One
that's
of them's
phenomenal.
the most expensive, and it's like literally what people don't realize is we're like providing future doctors for this area because that pre-health route, that's several thousands of dollars at a traditional campus.
Is there any faculty members or staff members that had a really big impact on you you'd like to talk about? It could be one or two or even more.
Barbara Briscoe, her, the first day in her class, the way that she introduced herself immediately made me want to be a public speaker. She was phenomenal in making you focus on her words and not the other distractions. And throughout my career and political campaigns, she absolutely gave me the courage to stand up and speak. And, I bumble sometimes, but she also taught me how to recover. So, she was very impactful.
Mm-hmm. So I managed to have Miss Briscoe, and she taught me the same thing. I have a 94B in her class, but yes, that was one thing that I got to learn real quick,
Mm-hmm.
that, different teachers have different expectations. But Dr. Cook is the reason why I was able to write as well as I was writing back then. Miss Latasha Harris pays for my daycare. She's the career pathways director. She's helped me so much. Everybody at External Affairs has helped me a lot, by the way. Thank you for that. Dr. Carter was one of the people. She's even let me take my kid asleep in class with me, so I wouldn't miss lecture. Dr. Burke, anytime I needed to get off work for my kid, he let me off. Terry Bright has helped me whenever I needed to transition from one job to another. I only was unemployed for 3 days, so thank you for that. And it's really just every employee and faculty here has helped me so much.
What do you hope to see for the future of NBC students?
I want to see more four-year opportunities. I want to see expansion of the nursing program. I feel like we have the best nursing program in the state. I want to see more opportunity for living space, attracting. I think our basketball team was like 70% out of state. We have to have dorm rooms in order to, bring these people for athletics or academics. They have to be able to stay here. So we've got to keep expanding that. I'd like to see the technical programs become a little stronger, more participants, more availability. But overall, I love the culture, and I want to keep the culture as we grow. I don't ever want to lose the love that you get from the staff here.
Do you guys have any funny or interesting stories from your time here you'd like to share?
I will tell the story of my Phi Theta Kappa induction. We were, at that time, we were in the gym, and we walked in our robes and holding a candle, and it was very solemn, and we got our Phi Theta Kappa pin. And as we all lined up to sit down, I look up, and my daughter, she was almost 4 at that time, and I had dressed her in a cute dress with a swirly skirt. Well, she absolutely was twirling in the skirt and throwing the skirt up over her head. And I was sitting, obviously couldn't do anything about it. And I hear everybody start laughing and going, "Look at that little girl." And I'm like, "Don't look at that little girl. Don't. Just don't." And she was having a great time. Mm-hmm. She was dancing along the bleachers, and I am trying desperately hard to catch my then husband's eye and go, "Set her down." But she stole the show at my Phi Theta Kappa induction with her can routine in the bleachers.
Mine was, the highlight of mine was being able to pick our mascot, because we had gotten rid of the Laker mascot a long time ago because we had no sports teams. There wasn't a need for a mascot. That was also my first time I went on a mission trip.
Oh, that was big.
And
she went to Memphis.
Yes, with the BCM. I ended up, I met some people I still talk to this day, and Michael Clayton's still here. He's still part of it. There used to be a whole trailer to where everybody would go, and I would go hang out in there because I had night classes, and they would let me take a nap in there, and I kind of just joined. I learned a lot of lessons from them that I am taking with me.
So, we're trying to collect as much information about the beginning of the college. You may not have any, but is there anything you guys can tell us about the beginning of the college?
I only know this because I looked through the records at the library because they had a table, but they had like a full homecoming originally, and they had a full like homecoming court. They had everything that like larger colleges had back then. And it's kind of nice to see that kind of coming back.
Okay, so what does MPC turning 50 mean to you, and what would you say it means for the college?
I think it's an opportunity to look back at our roots and set our mission for the future. It's a time of introspection and gratitude for all of the teachers that are not here with us anymore, and the people who had this mission and this vision from the beginning. To see what it's become is phenomenal. So I think the anniversary is important, but I think the next 50 years are going to be even more important.
It's very beneficial to see that everything we've been working on campus has either blossomed more or better opportunities for people. And it just is really great. So I think in 100 years, it's going to be just fantastic.
I hope so.
I have a question for you, Renee. One thing that we haven't been asking our board members is what it's like to be a board member for the college.
I recognize that the seat I'm sitting in represents the people of Garland County. And so I do my homework. I make sure that if I have a question, it's answered, and I make the best decision I can. But you do feel the responsibility of being a trustee. You know, that word in and of itself, you've got the public's trust. And you don't play with that. Every decision that we make is well thought out. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for my fellow trustees who have been very gracious in helping me read all the financial reports, and the staff who, if I have any kind of question at all, they're like 4 people, okay, what do you want to know? You know, let's answer it. So I'll let you know after I've been a trustee for 5 more years what it's like. But it is a responsibility.